Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Circular City session of the Business Day Italy. My name is Freek van Eyck, Director of Holland Circular Hotspot, and I'm delighted to be your moderator. One official administrative announcement: this webinar will be recorded and will be shared as well on social media. So please use your camera at your own discretion, and for the non-speakers, I would say please switch off your camera. When the session is going on, please mute yourself. Now, maybe a short word about Holland Circular Hotspot. Holland Circular Hotspot wants a circular economy happen at the international level. We do that by sharing best practices from business, sharing the insights and tools from knowledge institutes, and also sharing the hard-learned lessons from our government. Because by going circular, we can make a contribution to the climate goals and the SDGs, not as a cost, but as a business model. Now, why is the topic on circular cities so important? I think we have identified that cities are the place of action. It's where everything happens. It's where people work, where they live, where they recreate, where material flows and people come together. It's like Ban Ki-moon said not so long ago, if we can't make cities more sustainable and circular, we can't save the planet. Just think about the built environment. It's 50% of material use. It's 50% of energy use seen over the lifetime. It's 1/3 of water use, and it's 1/3 of waste flows. So we have to act there. And you know about circular, it's so inspirational in the city level. People can identify with it. It can start small, it can scale, it can jump from a quarter to quarter. And that makes it something which is inspirational. Now, circular cities are about many topics, and today we'll zoom in on a few. It's circular buildings, green infrastructure, climate change, and biodiversity, to mention a few. And with the wonderful speakers we'll look at the opportunities and barriers and the opportunities it offers for Dutch entrepreneurs. Now, about today's session, let me give you 3 hints, not as a spoiler, but first of all, Italy is a lot more circular than most Dutch people think. In fact, among the largest European countries, it's absolutely the leader of the pack. And cities in northern Italy, they perform much better than the Dutch, for instance, in waste management. As Holland Circular Hotspot, we performed a little market study, and the topic of circular cities popped up as a key opportunity for Dutch people. You want to read more about opportunities? Read our, difficult to see in the camera, read our market study 2-pager, and the link will follow through the chat section. Well, if you look at circular cities, I think there's nothing less than a circular renaissance going on in cities. Circular economy is hot, it's an opportunity. Stay tuned and you will learn more. Finally, there is so much momentum if we look at post-COVID-19 investments. 200 billion euros are going to Italy linked with green recovery. You will hear more from the speakers. Talking about the speakers, let me introduce the speakers to you. Can we have the slide on the screen, please? While we're waiting for the slide to appear, I will quickly announce from the Netherlands, we'll have Mr. Philip Evers from the Netherlands Enterprise Agency. From the embassy in Italy, we have Chris Schoenmakers, Senior Economic Advisor. We have delighted Italian speakers, Raimondo Orsini, Director at the Foundation of Sustainable Development. We have Ms. Manuela Ojang, Head of Environmental Transition at the Agenzia Mobilità Ambiente e Territorio. Mr. Andrea Totta, Head of Real Estate Development at the Student Hotel. And last but not least, Mr. Antonello Magliosi, Head of Design and Engineering at Arcadis, Italy. Well, the speakers will talk about what's happening in Italy in the scene, about opportunities and challenges, and maybe refer to Dutch opportunities as well. But before we start, I would like to give the floor to Chris Schoenmakers from the Dutch Embassy in Rome. Chris, how can the Dutch Embassy help Dutch entrepreneurs to grab opportunities for circular cities? What's happening?
Thank you very much, Freek. Buongiorno, innanzitutto benvenuti a tutti i partecipanti e ai relatori italiani. Hartelijk welkom aan alle Nederlandse deelnemers. A warm welcome from Rome. Glad to see that so many entrepreneurs are participating to this session on circular economy. In fact, I'm working at the economic section of the embassy in Rome, and together with our colleagues at the Consulate General in Milan, we provide assistance to Dutch companies willing to do business in Italy. With my colleague Roland Slachter from the Consulate General, I worked closely together on this webinar, and our contact details will be made available after this webinar. And Freek, your question, what can we do for you, for Dutch entrepreneurs? We can assist companies with all kinds of trade questions. We provide reports with market analysis in promising sectors for Dutch companies. We organize informative seminars, trade missions with also matchmaking events, and also collective participations to trade fairs. And of course, in normal times, we do this throughout the whole of Italy, but during the COVID pandemic, much is done digitally. We have identified the sector of circular cities as one of the priority areas with interesting opportunities for further Dutch-Italian collaborations. There are promising developments in this sector in Italy with a greater focus on green economy and investments on the way, also thanks to the EU Next Generation funds. As we already heard this morning in this morning's plenary session, Italy will have available about 200 billion euro from the recovery fund, and about 40% of this fund will be invested in green projects. So very interesting opportunities. We as an embassy and consulate general, we are planning a number of activities this year. I would call it follow-up activities on this Business Day Italy, and I just wanted to mention some of them. At the end of September, beginning of October, we will organize an economic mission on sustainable mobility to Italy with B2B matchmaking between Italian and Dutch companies. Then we have another event which will take place during Ecomondo. Ecomondo is the most important European Green Economy Expo in Rimini. And we will have a Netherlands lounge there. So that's also very interesting for companies that want to be present physically at this fair. Then in November, December, we will have a participation with Dutch startups at the event Rethink 2021, together with the Italian NGO Tondo. And this will focus on cities, materials, and technologies. So these are three important activities that we will do this morning, that we will do this year. And furthermore, we will also work on a market report on urban regeneration and opportunities for Dutch businesses in Italy. And last but not least, I also would like to mention the Floriade Expo in Almere in 2022, where Italy will also showcase their vision for a healthy green city. This will be from April to October last year. So if you're interested in knowing more about these projects, please contact us. I'm sure we will be inspired this morning by the examples of our Italian experts and the Dutch companies in this field. So I wish everyone a fruitful meeting, and grazie mille.
Thank you so much, Chris. Very informative. And I think we're all dying to hear more about this report on regenerative cities. That can be quite interesting for the viewers today. I want to remind you all that, of course, you will have questions during this session. Please do not hesitate a second to ask your question through the chat functionality, and please indicate the speaker you want to answer your question. Now, we're almost about to start with the speakers. To warm us up, we have prepared a little video on the topic of circular cities. It's a video from the European Investment Bank from 2019. Let's have a look at it.
The fast-growing cities of today house most of the world population and consume 70% of all resources and energy. As a consequence, they emit 70% of all greenhouse gases. and generate about half of the planet's waste. Today's linear cities experience increasing demand for resources and diminishing supplies, and are simply not sustainable. However, cities can be key to drive circular change. Transitioning to circular economy is not just about saving and reusing resources. It is about identifying and implementing innovative ways to make, use, reuse and recover materials, products and energy, and thereby reduce our impact on the environment. But what does a circular city look like? Energy production is renewable and local. Mobility systems are clean and shared. Buildings are designed to be flexible and modular. Urban farms and waste recovery bring bioeconomy to the next level. And all products are designed to be shared, leased and easily recovered. We are ready to support the transition to circular cities of the future. Are you?
Great, nice warm up. New innovative ways for cities. So, talking about new innovative ways and insights, it's without much further ado that I would like to introduce the first speaker we have for you. And I would call him a friend of the Netherlands, Mr. Raimondo Orsini. He's director of the Foundation for Sustainable Development in Italy. And I would say it's a think tank and it's a circular economy booster. Raimondo, the floor is yours.
Thanks very much, Freek, and good morning to you all. It's really a pleasure to be here with you, and I'm very happy for the invitation. Yes, we are friends of the Netherlands, not only for emotional reasons that we always, as Italians, feel somehow connected to the Dutch culture, but also because our foundation is a think tank working for the green economy in Italy. We do cooperate with governments, cities, and companies. And we cooperate with the Dutch embassy and the general consulate since many, many years. So it's a pleasure to see Chris Shomegas this morning and to you all joining this seminar. I think first of all, the topic of this seminar is this workshop is very interesting because Italy, and this is very interesting for our Dutch friends to know, is the country of cities. Historically, you know, our country is very young, but our history is very old, and the cities are, you know, the connection of this history. If you ask, when I was living in Paris, and if you asked me, where are you from? I used to say, I'm from Rome. I wouldn't say I'm Italian, you know? So we Italians feel very much linked to the cities, and cities so have a huge potential of growth, of green growth, for the future. And thanks for saying that. The other very interesting news is about the next generation EU, 200 billions dedicated to Italy, and a lot of money will be used for cities and for circular cities. So our answer to your very nice question at the end of the video is yes, we are ready, and this is the right moment to start with this. So let me share with you some ideas, and please feel free to make questions at the end or in the chat. Let me tell you about, I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Let me start with something that make us somehow pride. You know, this is a 2014 survey or study that Italy was second right after Netherlands at circular material use rate in Europe. Why? Because also in our culture, the recycling and the rate of reusing resources is very much part of our culture. So in 2014, we were second in Europe after the Netherlands. Unfortunately, in 2019, we have lost some positions. Now France, and it's a very long story of competition with France in everything we do. France now is before Italy, but not too much. But this is just to tell you that the recycling and the rate and the circular material use is part of our economy and culture, and it's somehow linked to Netherlands in terms of leading in Europe. In our foundation, and also I hope this is an information that helps, we started the Green City Network 5 years ago. So it's a network of more than 200 Italian cities and they share all best practices. And they are part of this network. This is a network for free. You don't have to pay. It does for free. It organizes for free public conferences. The next one will be in July, early July. It will be the National Conference of Green Cities in Italy. You can join the conference and you can see which are the best practices ongoing. You see, and this is a network also with academia and national research centers, like, you know, the triple helix that you use and you talk about when you present your expertise and what you're doing in the Netherlands. This network has developed documents also, like the Charter from Green City Urban Regeneration, the Declaration on Climate Adaptation, and also a repository of Green City best practices. This is some of the examples, but a lot of documents and a lot of common proposals have been shared by this Green City network in our foundation. Our foundation also has circular economy network, share mobility network, and Italy for Climate, another network for climate. So they are all connected more or less with what happens and what will happen in the cities. So today I want to tell you about 3 cities in particular: Prato, Verona, and Parma. Verona and Parma are very known. Prato is not very well known yet. It's a 200 outside because it's very close to Florence, 15 kilometers from Florence, but it's a quite big town with 200,000 inhabitants. What is very important is that the biggest textile district in Europe that produces the 3% of the European production of textiles, and the biggest fast fashion district in Europe, 3 universities, and a very important circular economy tradition. Maybe some of our friends remember that a few years ago, together with the Dutch embassy, we did a conference on this, and this is what I have as a present from that. It was a recycled bag from Remo, a Dutch project, together with the Prato city. They started a cooperation of recycling fabrics. So Prato is the European center of recycling fabrics, generating new fabrics from rags. This started at the end of the 19th century as an economic activity and a habit, and now it's turning also into a green and sustainability activity. This is one of the examples of the projects that the city of Prato is doing. They are running many projects. This is Rethink Your Jeans. They are collecting all the jeans together with the supermarket chain of organic supermarket called Natura Si. They collect all the jeans and they reuse the jeans to do bags and to do many other things. And what is important is the cooperation between public and private in Prato. There's a strong cooperation between companies and the city administration. So remember Prato for recycling, for textiles, and for circular city, and visit Prato or start projects with Prato using, if you can, the EU Next Generation Fund for Italy. The second city I wanted to tell about is Parma. Parma is very famous for the food. It's not only for the ham and the cheese and Parmesan, but it's the food center of Europe, we want to say. What is very important about Parma is about the cooperation between the companies and the administration. There are huge companies investing a lot on circular economy. So in Prato, we spoke about recycling, so circularity in a traditional way. In Parma, there is a new way of facing the circular cities, that is planting trees, planting new trees, and helping the decarbonization of the city and also of the surroundings of the city.
1 minute left, Raimundo.
Yes. So there are companies planting trees, 20,000 new trees in 4 months in Parma, starting what we call the Green Kilometer. 11 kilometers of trees, millions of trees will be planted in a few years. Last one is Verona. Our foundations had this project with Verona to electrify the cities, so to reduce thanks to the electrification, all the emissions. And by doing this, we will not only electrify mobility, but also buildings and increasing the renewable production in Verona. So Verona will become a completely electrified city in a few years. So these are the 3 cities. In 7 minutes, I couldn't tell you more. I could go ahead for hours and hours about all the cities, but I've chosen these 3. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Raimundo. We would love to hear actually the rest of the afternoon similar stories. One very quick question, and please with a very short answer. How do you see the difference between, for instance, the north and the south in Italy in terms of dynamics for cities?
Thanks. This is a very good question, because there is a big difference between central north and the south. The south of Italy is a bit behind in terms of investments, in terms of greening the economy. So the cities in the south have much less shared mobility, much less circularity. So my suggestion would be to cooperate with the cities in the south of Italy. They need technology and cooperation, and now they can have the investments and the money. So from Rome to south, Sicily, Sardinia, and all the south of Italy, there is a huge potential of investment, because they need to fill the gap with the north of Italy.
Thank you, Raimundo. Much appreciated.
Thanks.
Now we will make a symbolic salto from Rome to Milano, which is always known as a city of action. Our second speaker, Manuela Oyan from AMAT, will give us a virtual circular tour around Milano and link also to C40 developments. Manuela.
Yes, so thank you for inviting Milano to share our experience. So can we see the slides, please? So Milano, as you maybe know, is the economic capital of Italy, of the Italian economy. Sorry, do you have the slides on the screen?
Working on it?
Yeah. So Milan is the economic capital and the driver of the Italian economy. It has, of course, high population density, and is a city that also attracts commuters, next slide, and tourists. Of course, this means that having many tourists, commuters, and residents is linked to the fact that high carbon emission characterize the city, as well as huge amount of waste generation. So the circular economy is a key driver for us for green transition, enabling greater energy and material efficiency, but also helps lower the pollution levels and the greenhouse gas emissions. So indeed, Milan is the previous slide. Go back, please. Again, back. Sorry. Previously, okay, yes, this right here. So indeed, Milan is somehow rethinking its approach to development, in particular now after the COVID, and we are engaging with our citizens to adopt new lifestyles. Indeed, Milano is a champion, is the first city in terms of action on reuse and recycling. The next slide. It's about the Milano international commitments, since we are located in an area in Italy where we have high problems with lack of ventilation, so high pollution in the cities. We are very keen to improve the air quality condition in the city, as well as reducing our CO2 emissions. And we are taking some international commitments to strengthen our action and setting clear medium and longer term targets. You can see that we joined some declaration, especially in the network, in the platform of the most advanced city in Europe and internationally, the C40 cities, and we took commitments to advance toward net zero waste, and having a target even to reduce in 2025 with 15% the production of waste and 30% waste disposed of. In terms of air quality, we are aiming at full respect of EU limits on air pollutants. About CO2, we have a medium-term target of minus 45% reduction of CO2 emissions and this is part of our commitments within the Global Covenant of Measures. Looking at C40 commitments, we engage in the process to reach carbon neutrality by 2015. Our strategies in these fields, from decarbonization to circular economy, and our targets and strategy are parts of our climate and air action plan. Furthermore, we also are joining other European networks. One of these specific to circular economy is the Network for Circular Economy 100 that is promoted by the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. So if we want to go more into the detail, that is the next slide. What we are doing is mainly using green public procurement as a tool, as well as a co-decision process together with the private companies and citizens to focus on a few very specific key urban systems in the field of circular economy. And they are mainly the waste, where we have a target to reach by 2030 70% recycling rate. And this is mainly trying to convert the consumption patterns of our citizens and of the visitors of the cities. We are focusing also on the design, working with design operators that are willing to donate design objects, for example, or furnishing after fairs and exhibitions, as to be able to recover them. As you know, Milan is also the capital of design and fashion. Another system we are looking at is the food system, where we would really like to reduce our food waste with the target to reduce by 50% the food waste by 2030. And as well as trying to promote local food production and local distribution hubs for the collection and redistribution of food surpluses that are produced in the neighborhood. Concerning energy, of course, we are promoting the use of renewable energy on top, of course, of energy efficiency. And we are mainly looking at recovering heat waste sources. Mobility is also on top of our agenda, trying to slow down the speed of the mobility, especially in the areas in the city that are already low mobility, and trying to promote what we call soft mobility, and as well as sharing mobility. Last but not least is construction. And there we are trying to promote reuse of existing building, retrofit, urban regeneration, and we have a very specific target on reducing soil consumption by 4% within 2030. Next slide is about waste. We are promoting integrated waste cycles in the city. And the starting point is really the door-to-door separate collection. So the majority of our waste now goes through the waste separation process, and where we reached last year 62% ratio of separate collection. So we are able to recover materials as secondary material, compost, and biogas, and just a very minimum part is the residual waste is used for energy production. You can see from the next slide, as we have improved our separate waste collection, reaching 62% over the years. And now the next challenge, even these huge volumes of recovered material, is to set in place a robust and sound recovery value chain for all the materials that we are able to collect. In the field of energy, currently the thermal energy supply mainly relies on gas and district heating that is based on heat from the municipal waste burning. The energy system of the future will be a circular one based on a distribution grid relying on smart technology and connecting many different sources. We are looking at waste heat recovery from wastewater treatment plant, but also solar thermal, geothermal, heat recovery from organic waste, and last but not least again, waste heat recovery from industry. For example, data center, pumping wells, or special cases like glass production. Moving to the circular economy at urban scale, Milan, as said, is part of this international platform of megacities, the C40, and we share with them the vision that the urban regeneration is a powerful driver to promote circular economy at urban scale. Urban regeneration of the city is an opportunity to improve also the quality of living, reducing air pollution, and also creating jobs. Milan is working with its value chain to promote circular construction. This means for us optimize the use of existing building as far as possible, then retrofit and refurbish the building, and only when necessary build new buildings. The green,
Manuela?
Green public procurement is being applied in the city, and in our climate action plan, there are specific actions on urban regeneration. We have many examples of city regeneration made in link with the urban transformation areas like the railways yards. And you will have the opportunity to see some examples like the one here in the picture about the new zero carbon social housing projects. To conclude, looking at the future, looking at 2030, we identified three main priorities. One is waste, and in particular, packaging in food delivery. This is a key topic, especially now after the COVID emergency that was a cause for a huge increase of packaging waste. We are looking at waste from e-commerce. Second topic is the food. As said, we want to reduce domestic waste, but also try to promote urban farming, so reducing distances linked to food supply. About the built environment, two main topics: construction and demolition waste, meaning be able to apply selective demolition, but also be able to recover all the materials from the demolition and reuse them and make them available to dedicated platform. And we believe that off-site construction will also be a solution to recover materials, as well as speed up the refurbishment project of our buildings, especially thinking at the residential buildings. So I think these points can provide you some suggestion on how you can best support us in this process and bring forward your experience in these very specific topics of circular economy.
Thank you so much, Manuela. I think you did great circular promotion for the city of Milano, and Milano is certainly walking the talk. So considering time, I will have a question at the end of the session. So thank you very much for this moment. We'll be back with you soon. During this webinar, we move to another session, a panel discussion of two Dutch companies. We will have with us Antonello Magliozzo, Head of Design and Engineering of Arcadis, and Andrea Totta, Head of Real Estate Development at the Student Hotel. And both companies did some serious development in Italy, and they'd like to share their experiences. So let me start with Andrea first. And I would like to ask him if you can share some examples of the Student Hotel's last development in Italy. So what's been happening? What's your famous hybrid model? And how does it help to make the cities livable and regenerate them? Andrea, can I give you the floor?
Yeah, thanks for the invitation, for the question. I'm so happy to show you our model. So the Student Hotel provide a product that is not just an hotel, is not a student housing, it is something hybrid, it is something where people can learn, stay, work and play. This is the 4 pillars of our hybrid model. So our company is sorry. Okay, so as I said, our hybrid model has to let me say, organize our building, that more and more is not just a building, because now we are becoming area developers. So we are approaching the city with the area development, so urban campus and bigger developments. So we have to provide spaces for students, hotel guests, for co-living, food and beverage, meeting and events, co-working. And everything is mixed to give, let me say, the best experience and to mix different tribes between them. So we are a developer and operator. So these fact give quality to our developments because we care about both. And just to, I want to jump very, very easy. So this is what I said. We start from the acquisition, design, development, construction. So main part of the most part, I can say 90% of our development are from brownfield or refurbishment. So we are talking about circular, and as other panelists said, we are that kind of player that in change the face of the city for that part, for our development. So it is one of our core value, the refurbishment, the regeneration. So we start from the acquisition, design, development, construction, and then we operate. So this is not a speculative approach. That's why we bring quality. Quickly, I arrived to our development in Italy. At the moment, Italy is our second/first country, because we have a five development in Italy, as in the Netherlands. So Italy is the favorite place for the student hotel, and of course this is easy to understand because our audience is mostly student and tourists, and Italy is fantastic for both. We have a wonderful university and we are full of tourists. That's why Italy is the favorite country for the student hotel. So just to give you a short overview, we opened in Firenze our first the student hotel in Lavagnini. Was a big refurbishment, was a building abandoned, and there were problem of urban decor, from aesthetic point of view. So we had this fantastic refurbishment. We won a prize in 2019 in MIPIM. We won a prize as the best mixed-use development. So again, mixed use is our let me say, we strongly believe in our hybrid model, and in this moment of crisis we had our so we noticed that it was a win, let me say, a win-win solution. Because of the student, hospitality now has a big crisis, but we are out, we do the student, we had a good result even in this bad period for hospitality. So this is Lavagnini with a wonderful view. This is Bologna. We opened it recently, and there was a former building with the problem of safety and security. Was an occupied building. Now is a brand new TSH with a fantastic pool in the ground floor with students. Of course, now tourists are less because of the COVID, but is the student that our hotel this hotel in Italy, in Southern Europe, is the hotel that works better. So we are super happy for this brand new opening. We don't invest in prime location, so we always invest in a part of the city that needs a real regeneration. So
okay.
Yeah. Turin, this is again another development, brownfield. So we there with the problem of urban regeneration, with the problem of environmental. So we are doing a remediation of the soil and regeneration. And then Rome, again, another campus approach, open, permeable, and again with the problem of social regeneration, social connection with the neighborhood. Last one, that is the biggest one, again in Belfiore, was a big hall with underground water, was a lake. And now we remediate. We arrived to the ground floor, and we will complete in 2023 the biggest TSH in Florence. So this is just a quick overview about our assets.
Very interesting. The student hotel is proving that there are opportunities actually that they created in brownfield locations. So very inspiring. That makes me wonder also if our other guests has similar experiences. I think Arcadis is a leading international firm. We know them probably in the Netherlands from this big renovation in Maastricht, where a motorway went underground, the city part was redeveloped. Are there similar projects like that in Italy? And I'm asking this to Antonello.
Hello. Hi
Hello,
to
Antonello.
everyone.
Yes, you are in view.
Hi to everyone. It is a really pleasure to be here and to participate in such interesting and current debate. And yeah, speaking about the urban regeneration, I would like to mention a famous phrase of Steve Jobs, which is design is not just it looks and feel, is how it works. Because speaking about urban regeneration and the next challenges for our cities, we believe that we are not speaking about design, but we are speaking about a process where the private interest need to meet the public interest, and then it can start and trigger the real urban regeneration. I would like to share you a few slides just to accompany my presentation. Just a second. Okay. Okay. So as I mentioned before, we consider in our idea of develop the urban regeneration a balance between the public and the private interest. And then the economic value of the private asset increase just when there is, also it meets also the community and the people interest, and that's why we consider this process as a roadmap with 8 steps. This process at the beginning, we need to, of course, consider all the stakeholders and all the multidisciplinary groups, and to create a programmatic manifesto on a specific for a specific project initiative. And then we create a placemaking lab with a workshop to analyze all the possibilities, also the innovative way to make the development more sustainable and of course innovative, to share a vision with all the stakeholders to create a real engagement. After that, of course, it's important to find the investments to make the project possible. So it is important also to consider a new governance model to develop this regeneration project, and also the financing tools. Also considering crowdfunding and fundraising paths. And after that, only after that, the design can happen with the master planning and, of course, the business plan, because we are speaking about something that needs to be, of course, we need to measure the outcome in terms of sustainability. We need to measure also the outcomes in terms of investment and financial outcomes in terms of investment and revenues. And but because these projects are always so long, it needs sometimes many years to really develop. We consider it very important also to progressively activate the area with the temporary uses, and then it will be the fulfillment with the job site regeneration growth. And after that, it is not finished, because the regeneration project is an ongoing project. For we think that it is important also that that project needs to develop and respond to the new needs of people and the city over the next generation. And yeah, I would like to, I would like to,
a little bit with time. We know you have many slides, and we want to have some room for a discussion as well.
Yeah, I go very quickly just to show you about our engagement in many projects, especially in Milan. We're a big project, and I have the pleasure to communicate to you that yesterday we resulted winner for the Accelerator C40 Reinventing City, which actually was you know, a very interesting project and a flagship project for Milan, where our approach was to consider the real benefits for the people and for the sustainability of the city, considering all the challenges of the SDG, of course, and the challenge of the energy, where our outcome was to reduce the emissions and confront to the baseline business as usual, almost 100%. And we did the same. We had the same approach also with materials, where we accompanied the designers in choosing those materials that has got less impact in terms of the cradle to grave impact, and at the end we also produced an outcome of reducing of 48% compared to a baseline. So another interesting project that I would like to mention is about the Cadorna project. Actually, this is just a feasibility study that we have developed for FNM, where our idea was our proposal was to cover the railway between the Cadorna station to the Pagano bridge, and creating a new connection with the Cadorna Park, and also building a new function without consuming land, encouraging using of public transport. And also in this case, there is a balance between the private interest and the public interest, because the real estate profits are, of course, necessary to compensate profitable infrastructure, such as those that we need to consider to cover the rail tracks. Even in this case, we actually, it is called the CO2 factory, because it is addressed to produce oxygen for the city. We also consider, even in the early stage, all the choices related materials that can impact less our planet. And going quick, because we have a little time, I would like to mention just one more project. It is about the countryside, because we are speaking about the city. Of course, they impact so much the pollution of our planet, but the future is also in our countryside, as rainfalls can, of course, can teach us. And so we are proposing the regeneration of some former industrial area that can reconnect the countryside with new cycle highways to the city, and then reactivating many functions to the territory that right now are not so used. So also creating new opportunity, new job opportunity, and also creating a solution that pollute much less than before. Reusing brownfield, and of course in a perfect synchrony with the circular economy target.
I think you could talk the rest of the afternoon showing all the great examples of Arcadis in Italy alone. So you're too passionate about all the work you have done. So thank you so much. I would like to leave some time for some questions, and I would like to start with Andrea. If we can go to the main screen again. city solutions. Which options do you see for Dutch entrepreneurs?
Sorry, Chris, I miss. I have a bad connection. Can you repeat? Sorry.
Which opportunities do you see for Dutch entrepreneurs in the field of circular cities in Italy? Which kind of Dutch approaches or solutions are most promising in your view, knowing a bit both cultures?
Okay, this is for me, you mean for TSH, this question? Okay.
The question is for you, Andrea, your view on opportunities for Dutch entrepreneurs in Italy in the field of circular cities.
Yeah, no, so I think that Italy is one of the best countries where we can invest now, because, you know, we have high potential, and I see, and not me, I think that my company strongly believe, because we have 450 million euros invested in Italy. So we strongly believe that this is a country where where to make business. I think that you know, we are, especially in the center north part of the Italy, we are fantastic city, well connected, and this is something you know, amazing, because, you know, you can in 3 hours, 4 hours you can go from Rome to Milan. So my work every week, so I have many meetings in Italy in 1 day trip, and this is a fantastic advantage. So if you consider infrastructure that we have, you can go to Turin, Venezia, Florence, Milan very easily, and Italy became one big global city, especially again the center north part of Italy. So this is the real circular city. So you can consider this country as one big city, and, you know, you can cross business, you can share. I think that is
infrastructure. Thank you, Andrea. Let me ask the same question to Manuela, which we had previous as speaking on Milano. Manuela, you also worked in the north of Europe. Do you have a piece of advice? Can we just copy Dutch solutions and plant them in Italy? Or maybe a word of caution? Antonello, can you stop sharing your screen, please?
I'm sorry.
Manuela, can I ask you the question? Do
yes.
you have a word of advice for Dutch entrepreneurs going to Italy?
Yeah. So I think you are in the Central and Northern Europe, you might be more familiar, for example, with the digitalization and digital devices, and also in the field, in the construction industry, for example, and also in the use of shared platforms. On our side, even if we are in Milano, we are somehow still in the learning process, and we are now launching new initiatives. So I think it would be a good approach for us to share your experience and the pathways you followed in the previous year to reach your current levels of digitalization and use of platforms for the industry development.
Thank you, Manuela. A question from Raimondo. I have not forgotten Philip. I will come back to Philip soon. Raimondo, we have heard about this 200 billion euros becoming available for a green recovery. How can we relate that to opportunities for cities? Could you reflect on that?
Yes, in general, as it was said at the beginning, there are around 37%, around 40% dedicated to green issues and climate. But in particular, there are 9 billions for cities regeneration. So 3 millions for the regeneration, 3 billions for the regeneration of the outskirts of the city, so non-central areas, and 3 millions for the integrated regeneration in the city, and 3 millions for public buildings regeneration. This is something I would like to stress. Public buildings, not only hospitals, schools, but also offices, need a complete reshaping and complete regeneration. So this would be a topic very interesting to invest for Dutch companies together with the Italian cities. Technologies for regeneration of public buildings in the cities.
Thank you, Raimondo. One question to Antonello. How do you see the landscape, the policy landscape at city level for companies like Arcadis or other Dutch companies to invest at this moment? Can you give a 30-second answer? I know that's a big challenge.
Yeah, it is a big challenge. Of course, we can consider our expertise, our background in resiliency, especially also consider the Italian requirement and laws that are growing very quickly regarding the hydraulic invariances, and also considering the the future effect of the climate change. So, of course, we need to consider for any project all the according tools to mitigate the extreme events that we have to face in the next generation, I mean, next future.
Thank you for a short answer. Now we have heard, we got a teaser of opportunities in Italy, but then if we want to grab this opportunity, you also want to know which kinds of instruments are available for Dutch entrepreneurs wanting to go to Italy and invest in circular cities. And for that, we have Philippe from the Netherlands Enterprise Agency with us, who will give you a sneak preview, a brief overview of what instruments are available. Philippe, the floor is yours.
Yes, hello, good day to you all. Thank you for having me. I'm Philippe Evers, Business Development Coach at the RVO. And indeed, we have some very interesting instruments as RVO for your activities abroad. I think these instruments can be divided in instruments for individual entrepreneurs and instruments for collective groups of entrepreneurs. When I start off with the individual instruments, there is customized country information in which we can help with answering some basic questions about your activities abroad, in this case, Italy, of course. And we also have customized business support, in which we try to support you in your search for the right business partner. One instrument I find really interesting for entrepreneurs is also our SIP program, Starters in International Business, in which you can apply for vouchers, which can help you in the field of, among others, market entry, missions, and individual trade fairs participation. And when we move on to the collective instruments, one interesting instrument for sector organizations, for instance, is the MKB Lounge or SME Lounge program, in which the sector organizations can go to a fair with a collective stand. So this is a really nice one. As Chris also mentioned, we organize missions if there is enough interest in those. And the final instrument I would like to mention is the Partners in International Business program, in which a collective group of companies, a cluster, can enter a market together, and then the RVO will help with a nice program around it with activities. I know all these instruments can be really overwhelming, so my main message is actually I'm always open for sparring, and I'm at your service. So yeah, come and find me and my colleague Christina. We are always happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Philippe. There are so many support mechanisms at the Netherlands Enterprise Agency. That's amazing. My colleague just shared a link in the chat function where you get an overview of the most important options available, drafted by the Netherlands Enterprise Agency together with Holland Circular Hotspot. I'm afraid that time is killing and is relentless. We are approaching the end of the webinar. I would have loved to continue for another hour talking about all the options, but let's see that we established a network. We gave you a teaser of fascinating options in Italy. If you would ask me what are my conclusions, I think Italy is a lot more circular than we think. It's a circular economy leader, as Mr. Orsini illustrated. I think that especially after COVID-19, there's a huge momentum for a circular renaissance in Italian cities. Italy is a country of cities with great history, very much embedded with their environment, and there's a revival now. I think Manuela showed us that Milan does not only has ambitions, it's also walking the talk. All speakers, Mr. Orsini, Mr. Magliozzi, Mr. Totta, showed that circular economy is, however, not an exclusivity for Milano. Its action is happening in Verona, in Parma, in Prato, Bologna, Florence, Turin, Rome. Are there barriers? Well, there are, of course, the usual barriers, also administration, maybe cultural, but I think we have to look beyond barriers and look at the opportunities. The driver is, of course, the huge investment, the recovery measures, 200 billion, of which 9 billion for regeneration of cities alone. In the field of, there are options in the field of circular economy, of waste management. Think also about the renovation wave aimed at energy efficiency of buildings, which is an opportunity. Urban regeneration, I would say plentiful parts. We have also seen that the embassy is at your disposal to explore these opportunities, and the Netherlands Enterprise Agency has lots of instruments coming to the help. So to all speakers and to the audience, I would say, grazie mille. Italy is full of opportunities, and it's especially the people of Italy, like our wonderful speakers, that make the difference. So invest in Italy, and you will see it will become your #1 favorite export land. Don't miss out this opportunity. Thank you for your attention, and keep in touch with us.